Sack Russell T Davies, sack Jane Tranter, sack Phil Collinson, sack Julie Gardner.
Too soon.
Too or,
Too soon. Oh God.
I mean, I've been wavering on using that clip for pretty much the entire series. And now I'm on board with Eccleston.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, welcome everyone to Not Another Who podcast. I am Chris.
I'm Sam.
And Tom.
And special guest Tom Purchase-Rathbone. So that was an episode. Yeah, it was intense. How are you feeling?
Me?
Either.
Yeah, you go
ahead.
first. You go.
Sam, what's your thoughts?
I don't know. I'm experiencing whiplash from that episode. I'm just like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what the hell happened?
How about you, Tom?
I mean, I'm going to be a bit more positive and say that there were one or two moments in it that I was like, okay, this is kind of a bit like classic Russell T Davies, but I mean, as a whole, I mean, God, they made Omega CGI for one thing, which just, oh my God,
yeah,
atrocious.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
with the Omega point, the leaked design I had a look at yesterday because I was interested, I was curious. The leaked artwork that was turned out to be fake was better than the final product of a mummified skeleton thing crawling out of a tunnel. Oh, gosh. Yeah.
I want to see this concept art now.
Oh, it's you can find it online. I think Reddit. Try Doctor Who Reddit. But the leaked artwork basically it looked like AI, but it looked better than the final product that we got. Because it was still Omega like from the 70s.
It still looked somewhat like
Yeah. It got the kind of aesthetic of the 70s, but it was just and then we get a mummified skeleton, and I thought it couldn't get any worse after Sutek.
Yeah. Oh God, I know. Yeah.
We have some comments. So Julie says hi all. Hello, Julie.
Hello.
Jason says, "Oh my effing G." Billy Piper as the 16th Doctor. We'll get to that. We will get to that. And John says, "Wouldn't it be funny if Christopher Eccleston returned as a companion?" Unfortunately, we won't be seeing that. It would be hilarious.
That would be even more of a plot twist.
Oh yeah. I think it would be more funny if he returned as the Master.
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
That I'd like to see.
So yeah, okay. So how do you think this compares to Wish World? Better or worse overall?
Worse.
Yeah. What about you, Tom?
I would say equally as bad as Wish World, in my opinion. I think.
Equally. Okay.
Yeah.
What about you?
What about me?
Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot now.
Oh, okay. I don't think we've had a worse episode of Doctor Who since the Twin Dilemma.
I'd rather watch the Twin Dilemma.
I'm literally shaking. It was just. I mean, there was no resolution to the Susan bit.
Yeah,
They spent 20 minutes gaslighting Ruby Sunday. They killed the Rani off in the first half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour. So and then
I knew that was coming.
But Mrs. Flood is like, oh well, that lasted long. Well done, Russell. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah,
pointing
brilliant.
out your own mistakes. It's Lex says, who's excited for Billy Piper as the Doctor? Okay, we've got to address the elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about Billy Piper being the Doctor?
I saw a post on Facebook just before we started this, and it was the Doctor Who page, and they posted the video of the regeneration. And somebody commented, and this was a very good point. Normally, when there's a regeneration in Doctor Who, they put a thing up saying introducing so and so as the Doctor. But in the credits of this episode, it just said introducing Billy Piper. It didn't say introducing Billy Piper as the Doctor. So is she the Doctor, or is it just like Bad Wolf coming back? And if it is Bad Wolf coming back, or the Valeyard, I don't know.
But is it worse that it's left on? I mean, I think for me, it feels like RTD, the BBC, and probably Disney have genuinely got scared because of how bad the series has been received. And so because of this level of fear, they're literally trying to pull every trick in the book to keep viewers on, and it's been slipping. You know, I've seen the season 1 was it was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't downright awful. It was okay. But season 2, as we've got through the weeks, it's slid further down. And we noted that there's been a couple of bumps where it was okay, like Story in the Engine, Wishworld. No, not Wishworld. The Well. I meant to say The Well.
What a mistake.
I know. But literally, Interstellar Song Contest to now, it's gone on a complete nosedive.
This I think this is the first time that a regeneration has actually made me angry, because Ncuti had so much more potential as the Doctor, and I think he deserves so much more time, because sure, there were moments where I was like, that's just not the Doctor, i.e. crying in every episode. But he definitely had moments where he shone, and I just feel like he needed more time. So the fact that he regenerated only after having 17 episodes, if that.
Yeah, pretty much
17 or 18 or whatever it was. That's what I'm feeling at the minute. I'm just feeling really what a waste. What an absolute waste.
And he didn't get to meet the Daleks.
Exactly. No. I hadn't even thought of that, actually. Yeah, that is very true. Yeah.
We had a Dalek cameo, but it was archive footage.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got to be. He probably is the first Doctor that has never met the Daleks.
Do we count Paul McGann?
Ah, yeah.
But if we count Paul McGann, we have to count the fact that he's met the Daleks in the Big Finish.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think yeah, you could make a case live action he hasn't, but yeah, okay, I'd say maybe second Doctor who's not met the Daleks live action.
Yeah.
Mm.
Although Fugitive Doctor,
Yeah.
if we're gonna split hairs,
Yeah. I guess.
I guess.
Lance says, "Well done, RTD Muppet. Just destroyed what was left of the show. Lol, what an idiot." Yeah. Yeah. Well, to be fair, I think this is where I got the whole. I think they're really scared and they're trying new things, but they're also trying to bring back legacy characters that don't work because they're not doing them in the right way. Like, you know how last week, well, we were talking Wish World, and the whole Yana setup, the whole Master comeback was a slow burn, and then an epic reveal. It's like we didn't get that with we didn't get that with the Rani or Omega, and it's like he's trying to throw so much at the he's just trying to throw so much at the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah.
And it's not working out. Yeah. I think it's actually going back to your point, Tom. I think it's one of those where Shooty was done really dirty from the get-go, because not only did he have to share a screen in his first, appearance, like he came just after David Tennant. The whole bi-generation thing still doesn't make any sense. If anyone can explain to me how bi-generation works, please do.
Yeah.
And then he spent the majority of his time, like he literally shot these seasons back to back, and now he's left. So it's just been one of those where it's like the ship has been sinking the entire time. We've just been hoping that it doesn't.
It's kind of like the Titanic.
Yeah, pretty much. Shuffling the chairs on the Titanic to see if it does anything else. What we'll do, we will let's recap our scores over the series, and let's see what we thought about this one. So, those were the scores over the series, over the past few weeks. I think because I've been rewatching a couple of the episodes, and I believe that my score for Robot Revolution has changed slightly. I think it's a bit lower than I originally thought. Still okay, but it's not anything special. What are your guys' scores for this episode?
I'm going to say I'm going to go with a 3. I think
3.
a 3 because, as I said, there were a couple of moments that were good, but as a whole, it was atrocious. So yeah, I'm going to go with 3. I think.
What about you, Sam? Seeing as you're like the veteran out of the two of us, out of the three of us.
Well, it started out okay. It was like balancing on like a 5, maybe a 6. Then it's when it slowly went on, when Omega got revealed and very easily defeated, it slipped down very, very far. So my final score is going to be about a 3.
4. Okay. I'm probably going to bring the mood down because I just thought it was a big old goose egg. It was a definite naught. It's just like I get where you guys are coming from. I think you guys are being optimistic, and that's not a bad thing. I think it's really good to have a sense of optimism and to always think of the good things. But for me, I've been on this optimistic. It's almost like my goodwill has run out. Because I've been watching since 2005. It is 20 years since I've been watching this year. And it's the first time in 20 years where I genuinely have considered dropping off the Who train. And that's sad because I love the show. I know the show has its problems. I know change is hard for everyone, and we've had some great doctors, we've had some great moments, but it's like we didn't get most or any payoffs from like who's the boss. Why did Susan just turn up for a cameo and then there's nothing resolved about her? What was the point of Poppy? Like, there was no reason to Poppy, and then it was just overly convoluted. So it was like everything that had been set up with the 60th specials and all the mystery boxes, it was like we didn't really get much in the way of a satisfying payoff. So, and it's one of those where Belinda as well. Belinda started out as a really interesting character. And I thought there was going to be a really interesting part to she's going to have some sort of agency, and in this episode I don't understand who Belinda is still, and I don't understand
Yeah.
So I just feel as if that and everyone's open to their interpretations. If you like this episode, good on you. Yeah. I think that for what the fans, the fans give their support. The fans have tried at every time to we've had criticism. We've allowed ourselves to rethink certain things and go, you know what, it might have not been bad. It might have been bad, but it could have been a lot worse. This just got to the point where, like, I don't know. So, how do you feel like Ruby was done in this episode? How do you feel Ruby's arc managed to sort of pay off?
I think she's another character that they've done the dirty on, because again, there was so much potential, and I mean, the fact that she could remember Poppy and whatever, like, that was kind of cool, but also like, what was the point of it? I don't know. Like, she just, I don't know. It was really strange. But like, why was she the only one that could remember? Like, did I miss something, or like?
Yeah, I didn't get that bit either. So I
Yeah,
thought I was being stupid.
Yeah, I felt like with Ruby, she started out really good in this episode. Compared to the previous episode where she was just like, I mean, what was she in Wish World? She wasn't really doing much. She wasn't part of the story or doing anything of true significance. And then in this episode, she's given the most agency when she's not even the main companion of this era. Like, it would have made so much more sense if Belinda was that agency. But again, you would have this whole with Poppy being locked in the zero room, which I felt like that was just like, oh, let's reference let's reference Peter Davison again.
Yeah.
I know so many people being like, oh, if Peter Davison's going to play Omega, that would be hilarious. I would have preferred that to the CGI monstrosity.
Yeah,
really.
I made a joke when we were watching the episode. I made a joke as the door was opening, and I turned around to Emma and I was like, imagine if it's David Tennant that just walks out. David Tennant's doctor just walks out like, hello! Which, again, would have been so much better.
Yeah. And, you could have explained by generation as I don't know, some Omega level weird thing.
Trickery.
But yeah, but again, no
Wasn't
payoff.
explained.
Where was the 14th Doctor in this episode? Why wasn't he? Why didn't they go back into the same body and then regenerate? Why? We've still got the 14th Doctor on Earth, so
he was too busy
RTD's just
shooting
parked
pigeons.
it.
He was too busy shooting pigeons with Wilf. That's what it was.
I thought that was moles.
Was it more? Oh, I couldn't remember. Moles. That was it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and then so Yasmin Finney made an appearance, and we said last week that Yasmin, we don't really understand why she's coming back.
Yeah.
Do you think she was good? Like, do you think she was done okay? Do you think she was just there for the sake of it?
She was there for the sake of it. She didn't have anything to.
It would have made more sense if, again, there was some sort of setup to her character. But it just didn't feel like there was any setup to the fact, like, Conrad didn't even know who she was, so why was she gone from this Wish world if Conrad had no interaction with her to begin with,
Yeah.
So it just felt like one of those where RTD was like, let's reference Rose again because that would be fun, and she was at unit, and
it's almost like he was trying to recreate what he did with Journey's End, in that getting a load of companions back and just throwing a load of companions at the screen and going, look, this is good, but it just didn't work as well.
But the difference between that is Journey's End was like a Marvel Avengers style finale where all these people came together, and there were setups between all the spin-offs. With this, it was like, let's just throw as many people in as possible and see if that helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, that annoyed me as well. The fact that, like, it would have been fun if Yasmin had some setup in the series, but again, there was no setup, no payoff.
Mm.
And I think, you know, it goes back to the beginning, really. With RTD coming on board, we thought there was going to be some sort of, like, not a rehash of RTD1, but there's going to be some sort of structure, you know? There's going to be some sort of planning and some sort of idea, and as it's gone along, it's like the ideas aren't there, or, you know, they're just slightly off.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because there were some great episodes. The Well was really good. As I said, you know, Story in the Engine. I didn't mind Lucky Day, pardon me, but I feel like there was stuff that they still could have done with Lucky Day setting up the finale,
Mm.
you know?
Mm.
And then Conrad getting a happy ending when it didn't make sense for him to have a happy ending. Again, it felt like a cop-out.
Yeah.
And it is a massive shame because all I want is for Doctor Who to do well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what we all want as fans. We
We all
want
do.
Doctor Who to do
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But instead, we're just it's like we're given this and we're told to just deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go sort of. So Mel comes back, you know, fully in this episode. We actually get some sort of like interaction between Mel and the Rani. How do you feel like that went?
I love her reaction to seeing the Rani again, though.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, it's Rani. I thought you died."
But did she die in time in the Rani?
No.
Are we counting dimensions in time?
Because
it's technically
did she die
canon.
in that?
I don't think so.
I mean, the Master has died so many times as well, so, you know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, technically, like, the Rani was eaten by Omega, but let's be honest, anything could happen, and Mrs. Flood's still about, so...
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go to some comments, because I think this is fun. So, let's go. So Paul says, you know, you guys can just stop watching the show if you don't enjoy it. The thing is, it's not about the fact that we don't enjoy it. It's the fact that we want it to do well. We're not just crapping on the show because we hate the show, because that's not fair. You know, we actually want the show to do well, but we clearly know that RTD has kind of run out of ideas at this point, or is just trying to rekindle his era in some way. You know, and what we want from the show is to be progressive, but to go forward. But it feels like we're trapped in like this nostalgia cage, you know?
Yeah.
What about Mrs. Flood? Says Julie. has she been in both series? Mrs. Flood has been set up since Church on Ruby Road. So, yeah, with Mrs. Flood, she has been set up this entire time, and she did get some sort of payoff. And now she's gone, so we don't know what's happened to her. She could come back, but don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Izzy says effects for the regeneration was good, but why Billy? Honestly, so let's address the whole Billy situation, because for me, I don't understand. Firstly, I don't understand why Billy has come back. I don't understand why Billy has come back, because it doesn't make any sense for her to be the next Doctor. And like, you could have just left it on a cliffhanger of him regenerating in space, and that would have been a better fun. Like, I think the whole Billy reveal made it even worse for me, because it was like, okay, why are you making this move? It feels like you are literally just hanging on by a thread. And I thought she didn't want to come back to the show. Like, I swear I heard somewhere that she was like, I don't want to be in Cardiff for 8 months of a year.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, okay, but why? Just and the Doctor taking the face of a companion. Like, is this gonna be some sort of new thing now, where we're just gonna have Clara? We're gonna have Karen Gillan is the 17th Doctor. Freema Agyeman is the 18th. Are we just going to be pulling companions out of? Susan is. Are we actually going to get some sort
The
of
19th Doctor?
Yeah, 19th Doctor, where Carol Ann Ford just comes back. Like, what? How does this end? What happens? So it's just one of those. And it's a shame, because I feel like there was so much hype around this episode. Maybe for the right reasons, maybe for the wrong. But there was so much hype around this episode. And it was like, I feel bad for the people watching in the cinema, because I watched Empire of Death in cinema and I thought that was bad. If any of you did watch in cinema, give us a comment. But yeah, it's just one of those. And like the skeleton beast things, they didn't really have a purpose as much as I thought. They were just sort of stomping around. It was
and getting shot at.
They were a very, very cool design and a very cool
idea. I did like their design.
Yeah, but like, what was the point of them?
They were just stomping around.
Sorry.
They were just stomping around, being all.
Yeah.
But I also liked the fact that Unit Tower became some sort of like transformer. That was fun. That was cool. It was interesting, because we had that Return of the Galvanizer gun, but
yeah,
and but just okay. Yeah. 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 Shooty's outfit was good. That's a high point. We'll start talking about some of the positives, shall we?
Yes. I think we do need to talk about positive things.
Yeah. I liked Shooty's outfit. I wish he kept in the suit though, because that suit was absolutely amazing.
I wish I got married in that suit, to be honest.
Yeah. Like his suit was one of my favorite costumes. We're gonna have to do that at some point. Is just rank his costumes because he's had some good ones and then he's had some not great. I've just hit the mic. And yeah, like, and then he goes into his kilt. Lovely, great. I mean, it was a bit weird how he just took off his jacket and then magically transformed.
Time Lord magic.
Time Lord magic.
Yeah.
It's bigger than Onion. Oh wait, that's Time Lord science. So yeah, Shooty's costume was good. I loved Mel's, like the orange jacket. The orange Vespa was amazing.
That was the best entrance into unit I think I've ever seen. Forget the Doctor's TARDIS flying in, like that bike. Oh, so good.
Yeah, I love that bike.
We love a Vespa. We love a Vespa. But I did like the idea of I did like the idea of, you know, when the tower turns, the steering wheel. That was such a weird concept, but
like a pirate ship.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was not really much payoff for the baby Desiderium. Desmond.
Yeah. Let's call him Desmond.
Desmond.
Yeah.
But again, there was no payoff for him or her or them, which was annoying because that was part of their own Unholy Trinity, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were the god of wishes, but like, yeah.
I guess there's only so much you can do with a baby, you know. Well, no, literally, there's only so much you can do, and I mean, it spends most of its time asleep, which, you know, is the most well-behaved baby in the world. But it's like, okay, but you had the God of Wishes, and then you didn't really do anything, and then it becomes Joseph Sunday, just gets adopted with Carla and Cherry.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but like that child's gonna grow up and be a god.
Yeah, they're just gonna have a god wandering around the house.
Yeah. And what if they what if they get into a fight at school and he's like, oh, I wish I could win, and then it changes reality. Like, you've got a god walking around on Earth and you don't think that's a problem?
Yeah, like surely the Doctor would have thought of that and thought, yeah, that baby's going to grow up and is probably going to cause a lot of problems for me in the future.
Oh, Sam. Yeah, you know, it's like we could see a return to that baby in the future, but it sets up more problems than it solves, you know. All in all, I just think this era, like, you know, we have our views on Jodie's era, and that's another point. Jodie's cameo. Yay, nay, or hooray?
Meh.
Sam, you've been awfully quiet.
It didn't really bother me, really, that much. I wasn't terribly excited to see her. though.
Yeah.
I wish it was Capaldi.
Oh, imagine if it was Capaldi.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Just
I defended
Yeah.
his era when everyone was savage in it.
I mean, people are still savage, but it's
Yeah.
become it's had the prequel treatment, you know, in terms of Star Wars. It's become revered instead of shunned, you know, and replaced with Jodie's in this era. But yeah, like I feel like Jodie, I feel like they were giving her a cameo to give, I think, her Doctor some more justice, but it didn't really make any sense, and it wasn't really needed. You know, I would have preferred it if they had had like the Fugitive Doctor or something. You know, that would have made more sense because we had we had Shooty Fugitive in the story in the Engine, so it would have made a bit more sense to have her cameo. But what do you think, Tom, to Jodie's cameo?
I mean, for me personally, I have never been a fan of Jodie's Doctor. I mean, that era anyway, I didn't really like, and I didn't really like Jodie as the Doctor. I just don't think she was the right fit. But I think it's really funny how I think she was better in that 2-minute cameo than she was in her whole series.
Wow.
I don't know, like, yeah, but I would have preferred it if, as you say, if it was Capaldi or even Matt Smith. Like, I think, you know, I think they chose the wrong Doctor for that cameo.
And we did get a Matt Smith cameo, didn't we?
Did we? Oh,
Did we?
yes, we did. Playing cards with
the Time
what's his
Hotel.
face?
Yes, of
Anita
course.
had been following him. And then it cut back to the Good Man Goes to War.
Yeah.
Oh, great episode that.
And
Great
they showed John
episode.
Pertwee, which made me really happy.
Yeah, and we had archival footage of John Pertwee being abused by the Dalek.
Yeah.
My second fave.
Good old John.
The monster he hated the most.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Time Hotel. How do you think that paid off? Did you like the Time Hotel? Did you like that cameo? Were you mixed?
Well, this is the first time I've seen the Time Hotel because I never seen the Christmas special.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what it was. So I had no reaction to it.
Oh, okay. Interesting. What about you, Tom?
I really liked Joy to the World. I think that's one of the best episodes of this new era. And so I was really glad when they brought her back, when they brought Anita back, because I was really worried that she was just going to be in one episode and she was just going to be a bit of a wasted character. And I know she wasn't really in this episode much, but it was still really nice to see her. I thought it was a really cool cameo, I think.
Well, I wasn't a massive fan of Joy to the World, as you know. But she was the best part about that episode. So having her cameo was a nice payoff, I guess. That was one payoff I wasn't expecting. That was a really nice payoff because Anita was actually she was companion material. You know how we've had these these characters that have companion material but just aren't able to be a companion. you know, she felt like one of those where in a different life she could have been there traveling alongside the Doctor, and
Yeah.
then the fact that she's in this time hotel, you know, I thought that was great because that was a concept I liked about Joy to the World was the time hotel. I think that's a fun concept.
Yeah.
But it was one of those where it would have made more sense for her to be a bit more integral to the plot than just keeping the world open.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have any other thoughts? I'm really like I guess we should really talk more about Omega. Hang on. Let me go through a couple of comments because I think this would be interesting. So, why Harry says, why can't they just reveal the truth about Ruby? Well, the truth about Ruby was she was just normal. There wasn't anything special or unique or what you know that there wasn't anything more to contribute, you know?
Yeah.
Dr. Rose meets 14th. This is from Warren. Dr. Rose meets 14th saying, I'm the doctor now. That would be fun, but I think it would break my head.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could cope with that. Although I can see some sort of actually, I'm not going to go down that route. No, I'm not going to. I had a thought. I had an intrusive thought. I'm not letting that intrusive thought out.
Tell us off stream.
Yeah, I'll tell you off stream. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Paul says Ruby didn't even get a goodbye.
No, she
True.
didn't.
Nor did Unit.
It was like Dodo from the War Machines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dodo sends her love, and she's safe and well.
Great, thanks.
She's just been booted out. Like,
yeah.
Paul says it's crazy to think that might be the last episode of Doctor Who. For the foreseeable future, I think it should be. Just put it on ice. Michael Grade. Actually, hang on.
Sack Russell T Davis. Sack Jane Tranter. Sack Phil Collinson. Sack Julie Gardner.
You had to play it again, didn't you?
Yeah. That needed to happen.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I definitely think it does need a hiatus. I think of a good few years.
Yeah.
And then
really.
This is the thing. This is what we've been talking about over the past couple of weeks. Does the show need new blood? Is this really time to realize that the show is cooked or the showrunners are cooked? You know, we say that every year is bad or every episode is bad, or you know, we always have our negativities, and I think what this era has shown me is don't be too quick to react. Let it play out and then understand, you know, try and like reverse engineer their thoughts. You know, I thought this was going to be a climactic finale that really wraps up the era. It doesn't. It still leaves a lot left to be desired. at least with Chibnall, he did have some sort of finality. Yes, okay, you could say that his era wasn't great, but you know, we at least had some sort of payoff to his era
Yeah.
compared to this, where you know the Disney Who era has really kind of like visually it looks great. All the episodes have looked fantastic.
Mm.
But you can't just make something look good and expect it to be good, you know?
Yeah.
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 Like the writing needs to support the visuals. If the writing is not as good as what's visually being put on screen, then you haven't got a good show.
Mm.
Oh,
I'm just thinking, like, do you remember on April Fool's Day when there was that joke that was made where they said that Amazon Prime were going to be taking over Doctor Who?
yeah.
I'm actually starting to think maybe that's not such a bad idea.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
I
Well,
to complement your thought, I know the government are trying to get rid of the BBC in some way. So, Keir Starmer, if you're listening, why don't you offer on a silver platter Jeff Bezos the keys to the BBC?
The keys to the TARDIS.
The keys to the TARDIS. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Personally, I don't know if that would be good, but maybe that's what we're missing. What about you,
Mm.
Sam? What do you think about that?
what, Amazon taking over Doctor Who?
Yeah.
I'm all for it. They'll probably
Mm.
do a better job than Disney are and the BBC.
Well, that's yeah. Well, to be honest, the BBC has been crashing out in terms of its um content, in terms of what it's been producing over the last 5 years. We've seen a definite shift in the BBC's quality. You know,
Yeah.
we don't get great shows anymore. We get
No.
half-baked shows. And this felt like a really half-baked Doctor Who era.
Yeah.
You know, all the pieces were there, but all the players weren't in the right order, or things just. It would have been better if there was actually someone steering the ship instead of people, you know. So yeah, I think we definitely do need some new blood, and I think this show could go on hiatus because it's like diminishing returns. It's like we get hopeful, and I think a lot of people cope that it's going to get better, but that's not the case anymore. You know, we can say all the bad things about the Jodie era, and vice versa with even Capaldi's era wasn't great. Like there were still duds, but there were diamonds in the rough. There were still episodes of Capaldi's era that felt like genuine Doctor Who episodes, and there were more wins than there were losses with Capaldi's. But I think and I'm not saying this because I don't like Jodie, because I do like Jodie's Doctor. I just don't think she was written in a great way. So, and yet RTD made her actually, like, there was some oomph in that character for the very little screen time she had. I actually felt like for a second I actually like Jodie's character when she's being written by RTD. in a bad episode.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we get our wish one day.
Ah, I see what you did there.
Okay. There's a lot of people actually. There's a lot of people supporting our views on Amazon. Or there's quite
I
a
thought
few.
that was an unpopular opinion, to be honest, but I'm glad to hear it.
I think now that things have completely done a 180. So, shall we talk about how Omega was defeated really easily? And how
Very
these massive
easily.
threats were like Sutek was defeated really, really easily. You know, being dragged through the time vortex on a
lead.
dog leash. Like the Doctor using the Vindicator to zap Omega back into his, again, Omega didn't really have anything to do in this episode. He was just kind of there.
Yeah.
He was hyped up to be this really massive threat, and then nothing.
We saw him for like 5 seconds.
We saw, yeah. It's almost like the budget ran out.
Yeah.
He basically came in, ate the Rane, got shot, and went back into his universe.
Back into his hidey hole.
While Shooty was screaming,
Vindication!
Sorry, I wanted an excuse to use that again.
Nice.
That's been my series-long meme over the past 8 weeks. Just every time whacking out the Vindicator. Good old Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Gotta love that.
What a show. Brilliant show.
Johnny says, Billy not credited as the Doctor. Yeah, okay, it's not confirmed that she's the Doctor, but I mean, it was Shooty that was literally there before. So it's hard not to say she isn't the Doctor, because where is the Doctor then? Has Shooty gone back into David, and then we're going to have David and Billy back? It seems like they're retreading old steps, to be honest.
Yeah. Maybe it's a third Rane.
Maybe it. But again, yeah. Did you like the Land Between the War and the Sea trailer? Did you see that?
I didn't see it.
I think it has potential. I think it looks pretty good.
You have to describe it to me.
Well, what's there to describe? It's basically like Torchwood, but it's just Unit. And are they literally the redesign of the Sea Devils?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I mean, the Sea Devils, okay. I know Legend of the Sea Devils is considered one of the worst episodes of Doctor Who. For very quite right reasons, But I didn't like the design of the Sea Devil in the War Between the Land and the Sea. Like, I do like the design of the Sea Devils. It is an iconic design. That wasn't a bad thing about that episode. I guess we'll have to see what, if we are going to go back to watching Doctor Who again.
Are we going to review it?
I'm a massive fan of Russell Tovey, so I'm excited to see Russell Tovey in something again. I quite like him.
I do like Russell Tovey. But I'm nervous about that as well, because it's like, okay, but again, where was the setup? Why is this just a standalone spin-off? Why couldn't there have been a reference throughout this series linking the two? Because to the untrained eye, to someone just randomly watching BBC, they could be like, "Oh, I don't know what's this show about." Yeah, okay, you've got Gemma Redgrave, and you've got a couple of, and you've got like Shirley Thingamabob.
Are we going to review it then?
Are we going to review it? Well, tell you what, if you want us to review it, subscribe. That's the only way. If you want us to review it, leave us a comment and subscribe, and we'll see what we can do. Depends when it's coming out, because it could be coming out next year.
Yeah. It just said coming soon, so when is soon?
So we never know. When is
cinema
soon?
near you?
What is time? Let's, because I don't really have much more to say on this episode. I've still got, I think I need to give this another watch to really let my thoughts sink in, and I actually want to do a roundup of season 2 as a whole at some point. So we'll park the episode for now, because I'm not. Have you guys got any sort of final thoughts? What do you guys feel like?
I think I've said all I want to say, to be honest. I think I'm done, I think.
It's not an episode I'm going to go back to in a hurry. Let's
No.
put it that way.
I think the episode I will probably rewatch, given the thought, is probably the Well or even Lux, actually, because I like Lux.
Yeah,
Lux was fun.
But yeah, I think I prefer the earlier half of the series than the latter half.
Yeah.
But that being said, let's go on to our guest segment called Stranded on a Planet. And you're given the option to have a few. It's a bit of a wordy one. So Tom is our first special guest, and what we're going to start doing with our guests is we're going to throw them a little curveball. So imagine that you've been stranded on a planet, and you've got 5 episodes of Doctor Who and a book of a Doctor Who novel and a piece of merchandise. You've got unlimited food and water supplies, but you've only got those items. Now, what are your 5 episodes, and what novel and what piece of merch? Shall we go in sort of order of episodes?
I mean, yeah, I've just written them down on my phone.
What would be your first episode?
So my first one is probably one of my favorite episodes of all time. And Chris, I think you know what I'm going to say. Midnight.
Oh, okay, that is, yeah,
that's a good
that's a good one. I think that's one you can't necessarily get bored of too quickly, because it's entertaining. So I can see that. That is a fun. And honestly, as a David Tennant fan myself, I love his era the most. I'm fully on board with that. That is fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
What about your second?
The second one, because you said that 2-parters count as one episode.
2-parters count as one episode because it's technically one big story but split up. So
Yeah. Okay, that's all right then, because I've got my favourite two-parter, which is the Empty Child story.
which we just reviewed.
Yes.
Yeah, we had reviewed that like just before, or sort of, yeah, because we were doing a series 1 retrospective, and spoiler alert, series 1 still holds up as a really solid series, and the Empty Child two-parter still scares me.
Yeah.
Like, it's still terrifying to me. That scares me more than Blink does as an episode.
Yeah.
Just it's so creepy. But that is good. Okay, so we've got an Eccleston and a Tennant episode. Tennant, Eccleston. We've got 2 New Who Doctors.
Yes.
What's your third?
The third, I've gone with another Tennant. There's a bit of a pattern in my list, in that I've gone with the episodes that could be considered as some of the most creepy, which are the episodes that I love the most because I'm quite a big horror fan. But the next one I've gone with is Waters of Mars.
Oh,
Ooh,
classic.
Yeah. Waters of
My
Mars
favourite David Tennant episode.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I love it so much.
Again, it's one I don't get bored of.
Yeah.
I absolutely. If there's any monster that I want a return of, is the Flood. I think they're such an interesting villain, and it reminds me of Alien. Film. So you know how throughout the entire film they are trying to stop the alien from coming to Earth. That's kind of the whole point, is they don't want to bring this alien back. That kind of is basically the same thing, but with the Flood. So it would be really interesting to see, like, the polar ice caps are melting and maybe the Flood virus or something is there.
Yeah.
That would be so good.
You should be the next showrunner.
Well, you say that. We do actually have a showrunner. We have a showrunner episode that we will be doing in the near future, because we can say all the bad stuff we want about Doctor Who, but we're going to put our money where our mouth is and actually give our opinions on what would we do if we were in charge of the show. So I think it's only fair. So yeah. I'm going to steal that idea.
Awesome.
What's your 4th?
My 4th is actually the first ever episode of Doctor Who that I watched, which is Tooth and Claw.
Oh, Tooth and Claw. I do like Tooth and Claw. That is a fun episode. You're winning me over with all these Tennants.
A lot of fans crap on that episode, though. I don't think it is that bad.
I don't understand why, because, like, for me, Tooth and Claw I find is a really fun adventure. It's like it's like a base under siege episode, really, because you're trapped in a castle with a werewolf. But it's one of those where, the bit at the beginning with the monks and the highly stylized camera is really juxtaposed with the rest of the episode. But that is a cool shot. And the monks do make sense to the story. So I think it's because I think you're wanting a lot more from a werewolf story than just a werewolf going around. But I like it. I also like the behind the scenes where it's just a man in a really skin tight lycra suit.
I saw a clip of David Tennant. I think it was at a Comic-Con, and he was telling a story about how the guy that played the werewolf, because he had to wear this green suit so that they could, edit the werewolf in post-production, and it was very tight. And he was saying how he was very, very well endowed, shall we say, down below. And
Yeah, you could see everything.
yeah, that's basically what he was saying, and it was very funny.
Gosh, I mean, imagine you get the role of a lifetime. You're a villain on Doctor Who, and you're wearing a skin-tight lycra suit
Yeah,
with your junk
yeah,
on display. That's just that's got to be a career-defining moment.
yeah.
Okay, so what is your fifth and final episode?
Fifth and final episode. Well, when I was making this list, I sort of thought it's Doctor Who, so I've got to have a Dalek story in there somewhere. So I've gone with one of my favourites, which is Another Tenant, and it's the Daleks in Manhattan / Evolution of the Daleks story.
Wow. Okay. Not the episode I was expecting you would say.
Yeah.
Interesting choice. That's also an episode. That's also an episode that not many people like.
It's mainly because we rewatched
Sorry.
it because Emma and I are rewatching New Who at the minute, from Christopher Eccleston up to Jodie Whittaker, and we watched it.
You just finished the classic era, hadn't you?
Yeah, so I finished the classic, and then now we're rewatching New Who. But yeah, we literally rewatched this story the other day, and I forgot how much I enjoyed it, and I just think it's a really interesting concept of like the Daleks trying to evolve and merge human DNA. I just think it's like a really interesting idea.
And Spider-Man
as well. Andrew Garfield, one of my favourite actors.
That's interesting. How do you feel about that, Sam? Because I know you and Dalek episodes. Well, you have a certain opinion over Dalek episodes.
Do I?
Well, it's like that there's like bad ones. There's bad ones, there's good ones, there's
I don't mind Daleks in Manhattan and Evil. What is it? Evolution. Yeah. Evolution. That's it.
Daleks. Evolution or evolution?
Evolution. Resurrection. Remembrance. Revelations.
Retroaction.
Yeah, it's not an episode that many people put in their top 5. But I respect it.
It's a very bold choice.
Yeah.
I think I prefer the second part to the first part. I feel like the first part's a bit slow. But I have to admit that like I like the cult of Skaro as a concept, and I wish we had more time to explore the cult of Skaro. Because even a spin-off series with the cult of Skaro would have been amazing. Just them trying to understand how to be the best Daleks. Coming up with these ideas, or that would have been fun. Even if it was just like a mini series of just 6 episodes, it would have been fun.
Yeah.
And I do like that 2-parter. I don't think it's the best Dalek 2-parter. I mean, my favourite Dalek 2-parter is series 4.
Totally agreement in that one.
My second favourite is the Doomsday. I would have said Doomsday. I know people are probably like, why didn't you say Parting of the Ways? And it's because you'll find out when we review it, because that's coming out soon.
Little teaser.
Little teaser,
Little-
get you going.
Also,
yeah, great. Sorry.
also
Go ahead.
Boomtown as well.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
Boomtown. We've got to
Mm.
sort that out. That's
Yeah,
apparently a missing episode.
I currently, yeah, it got corrupted on my laptop, so
Oh,
so we
God.
lost all the footage for that.
But it's okay because you know what they say about missing episodes? They'll either turn up or we'll animate them.
Yeah.
Telestat reconstruction.
Yeah, telesnap.
Mm.
Okay, what novel? Have you read many of the Doctor Who novels or books?
I have read none of them. So I went with one. I literally Googled a list of Doctor Who novels and I read the synopsis of a few of them. And I've just gone with one that I thought sounded pretty cool. It's one called Feast of the Drowned.
Oh, that is fun. That is a good one.
Yeah. Not heard of that one.
That was Ten and Rose. I think. Yeah, Ten and Rose. Just the those books of that era were just fun. Really fun. Yeah. No, that is a good pick.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I have thought, and I'm gonna announce it now, that I want to do a Doctor Who book club because I think it'd be fun for people to, if people have read the books like Scratchman, that was written by Tom Baker and Ian Marter.
Are you going to go into? Are you going to go into some of the New Adventures ones from the early 90s?
Well, judging by the fact that they've made Lungbarrow canon, I'm gonna have to try and find a copy of that now. If you don't know what Lungbarrow is, don't. Yeah.
You probably find it on eBay.
It's like 450 quid or something.
Oh, is it?
I'll see if there's an audiobook version. Yeah, if you don't know what Lungbarrow is, it was the book that established how Time Lords were created. And it's from something called looms, which is a concept in itself. And they've kind of just become canon because of this episode, because Time Lords can't procreate. So that'll be fun. But yeah, if you're interested in doing a Doctor Who book club, we'll be doing it monthly. So if you want to comment below what books we should be reviewing or what book should we start with first, give us your thoughts and we'll see what we can do. Because I think it'd be nice to cover other parts of Doctor Who media apart from just the episodes. I mean, we want to do more in terms of like looking at Doctor Who from the spin-offs and the looking at like all the extra doctors that were missing, you know, Peter Cushing and Joanna Lumley, to name a few.
And Chris, you're just dying to review Torchwood season 1, episode 2.
Yeah, I guess if you want us to review Torchwood season 1, episode 2, comment below. That'll be a Patreon exclusive. Because we will get content ID'd or something. What about that merch? What piece of merch would you take? Would you have?
So do toys count?
Anything. Any
Anything.
piece of merch.
Okay.
You
So I
can
feel
literally take like a bath bomb, TARDIS bath bomb or something.
Well, I've got a couple of things. One thing is something that I want to show off. Don't worry, it won't get you banned.
Oh,
I think the
obviously.
the piece of merch I'd want to take with me, because I feel like if I'm stranded on my own, I'd want to have some kind of companion to keep me company. So I think maybe, did you ever have the remote control K9?
Yeah,
Mm.
that was
So I was
so
thinking
fun.
that. I also put in brackets a Dugadoo plushie, lol.
Like I do.
They've got to release plushies, surely.
I genuinely thought for a second you were gonna say like Dugadoo on like vinyl or.
Oh, did you did you see that 60s style Dugadoo episode?
No, I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh, I've got to show you that, Tom. That is
please
perfect.
do.
I sent it you earlier.
I've actually gone a little bit viral on TikTok because of Dugadoo.
Really?
There's this meme where there's a classic painting in a courtroom, and the picture says, "Your Honor, she won't stop singing it," and then it's just a woman sat there like this, and people just put different songs to it, songs that are trending, and so I did one with Dugadoo, and it's got nearly 70,000 views.
Wow. That's great.
Ridiculous.
That is awesome.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, check out Tom on TikTok. What's your TikTok?
TikTok of Tom, if you want to follow me or check me out.
TikTok of Tom. Check him out. Give him a follow. I'm not on TikTok.
No,
I feel like I'm going to be trapped. I feel like that's like yeah. Wow, that's cool. Yeah, interesting. I thought you were going to say the sonic screwdriver, because you got
Funny
the
you should say
14th
that.
screwdriver.
Funny you should say that. This thing that I want to show off. So, Chris, as you know, I have whenever we go to Comic-Cons, I have a steampunk get-up. I call it my steampunk doctor. And for so long, I've wanted a sonic screwdriver to go with that cosplay that's different to any other sonic screwdriver ever. And so I was doing a bit of research a while ago, and I found this guy on eBay called DH Props 88, and he designs sonic screwdrivers that are completely unique. So here it is.
Oh my word.
Oh,
that is so cool. That is like the coolest screwdriver.
So that is my steampunk doctor's sonic screwdriver.
It's so cool.
There you go. So I'd probably take this with
you
me
out
as well.
of any scrap. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's like it's not 3D printed, like it's actual metal, and like it's got some weight to it. It's very cool.
That is awesome. That is so cool.
So there you go.
What do you think, Sam?
I love the sonic screwdriver. I want one now.
Yeah.
If you've got a spare 200 quid, then off you go.
Yeah, that's the thing. Everything goes on bills for me.
I've only just finished paying this off, so.
To be fair, it feels like, you know, those Star Wars lightsaber websites where you can get like either custom made or bespoke. Like it's like that. I keep seeing them around because I have wanted to do a lightsaber fight for so long. And Yeah, that's so cool that you can do that you can literally like make your own. Because I remember when they brought out that. Do you remember that set, the
Yeah.
merchandise where you can make your own screwdriver? I
Mm-hmm.
missed that because like I never got it. So I saw people making their own screwdrivers, and I
Yeah.
was always like, oh, I wish I could do that.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I guess that is our thoughts on Doctor Who season 2. What did you think of the rest of the series, Tom?
It was very much like this for me. It would get up like the WoW. I was like, yes, this is peak Doctor Who. This is amazing. And then again, it just goes. Whoop. So yeah, I definitely think my favourites are the WoW and Lux. I think they're my two favourites. Yeah.
What do you think of Story in the Engine?
I have a really unpopular opinion about that episode. I just think it was a bit waffly for me, and there was a lot going on, and there was quite a bit to take in. And yeah, I mean, I think I need to rewatch it. I think that's the main thing. I need to rewatch it and see what I think. But yeah, watching it the
So I
first
think
time round.
the guy who wrote it was a playwright, so I think it's because he has his background in theatre that it's such a waffly episode. It's very dialogue heavy.
Yeah.
But you know, for first episodes from like first time writers,
New
I think it
writers,
wasn't as like we've had definitely first time writers that haven't stuck the landing.
Mm. Mm.
Any final thoughts, Sam?
Final thoughts. Wow. The it started the series off the series started off well. Then from about episode 6, it just went.
I think because Interstellar Song Contest, that was one episode where when the episode titles first came out, I thought, okay, interesting, but I don't see, I don't understand where. I mean, I didn't think about the Eurovision connection until literally a couple of weeks before. But I thought for a musical themed episode, you would do at least more than just, you know, it felt like there was so much lacking from an episode that could have been you did like Devil's Chord, which was another musical themed episode, and you did more with the music in that episode than you did with this. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I think what needs to happen is the dust needs to settle on the series, and then we need to look at it objectively. Personally, I don't like this episode of Reality War. I didn't think it was as good as it could have been, and it hasn't stuck the landing. But what I want to do is I want to go back, watch the entire series, maybe even include series 1 and the specials, or season 1 and the specials, because I think for me, my thoughts are there needs to be some reason why this hasn't stuck the landing. This can't have just been burnout or anything like that. Like RTD had burnout constantly in his first era, but he pushed through and actually made solid episodes of TV. You know, so there needs to be some reason why this time around some things change. So, and you know, we had Years and Years and It's a Sin, which were incredible series of television, especially Years and Years with its sci-fi, you know, aspects. So it's not like RTD didn't know how to write Doctor Who again, but it's just, I think for me, the most objective thing I could do, and you'll see it. You know, we'll do an episode where we look at the series as a whole. But I think that's I think the dust needs to settle. I think we need to see where we go from here.
Yeah, I think we'll do that episode in about 6 to 8 months, mate.
6 to 8 months. Oh, that's
just let the dust settle.
Yeah,
with some fresh eyes.
Bury the show.
Yeah, if you want to bury it, then.
Well, what's happening next on Not Another Who podcast, Sam?
Wow, we have the demons. We
do. We're going to be visiting the demons, or maybe they're visiting us.
No.
Oh, I thought we're we're finishing off our retrospective of season 1, series 1.
That's it.
And then we're going to be doing some more classic episodes.
I just want to get to the demons. That's probably why. It's actually my favourite story.
Tom might join us for a classic Who app, because you have seen a lot of classic Who, haven't you?
I've seen all of it now, so
you have.
Even the lost recon, the lost episode recons.
Yes, some of the ones that they animated turned into animation. Yeah, I've seen everything that's on iPlayer, basically.
So not the telestat reconstructions.
Oh God, no.
Some of them are brutal, especially the space pirates.
Oh God.
Well, maybe that is what we should bring you back for.
What, space pirates? God.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Thank you for everyone who commented and gave feedback. We had some really good comments. I missed one about Andrew Garfield, the Red Riding trilogy being awesome. And if you haven't seen the Red Riding trilogy, check it out. It's really good. It takes place across 3 different eras, like 3 different decades. I think it's 70s, 80s, and 90s. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, that was good. Thank you, everyone, for contributing your thoughts. Please give us a subscribe if you enjoyed our ramble, our spewing of entertainment, and we will be back. We won't be doing any more live shows for the time being. We will be going back to our regularly scheduled programming. But we will be releasing some more every fortnight. Yeah, we will be releasing more reviews. We're going to do some ranking videos at some point, aren't we?
Yeah. Are they going to be in between?
I think so.
In between the fortnightly review things?
Well, they're not. They're going to be sort of extra little tidbits.
Yeah. You know? We haven't fully realised it yet, have we?
No. Well, I think because of this era, we just need to take a bit of a break. Because of this series, I think the 8 weeks have really burnt us out in terms of just trying to be as positive and trying to keep a good sense of morale.
Well, we've actually been doing this for 10 weeks non-stop.
Oh yeah, but if you count the retrospectives, yeah, because we were doing the retrospectives like every week. But yeah, we'll return to our regularly scheduled programming. But if there's anything you want us to review or anything that you think we missed about this episode, comment below your thoughts, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Sack Russell T. Davis, sack Jane Tranter, sack Phil Collinson, sack Julie Gardner.